For the first time in 2025, we come at you from Steve Cady Arena for the first home series of the new year as the Miami RedHawks look to get their first NCHC win of the season. Their opponents, the Omaha Mavericks, currently riding a program-best 8-game win streak against these RedHawks. Omaha looking to stay hot after a good weekend last week against the CC Tigers, hoping to stay competitive in the middle of the NCHC standings. Alongside Jeff Middleton, Luke Poley with you after a lengthy break. Jeff, Miami got back into the swing of things last week, suffering a road sweep at the hands of Denver at Magnus Arena. There was some to like for Miami last week, but you're hoping that with that month-long break, you can kind of turn the page a little bit. Unfortunately, you can't steal one on the road. Now you've got a big chance coming up at home. The excuses out the window this weekend.
Yeah, certainly, and I think that, Miami, the Denver broadcasters actually talked about it a lot last weekend, is that Miami was in both of those games, especially the Friday game. Bruno Braveras had one of his best games of the year, and last time these RedHawks played Omaha, the games were frankly not close. Omaha on that Friday beat them 3-0, and then the RedHawks suffered an 8-1 defeat on Saturday. So they're going to look to bounce back here against the Mavericks, especially following what was a decent road trip to Denver. But yeah, these RedHawks get a man in Max Dukovac back and a couple others dressed. Not sure if he'll play Ethan Dahlmeyer. We'll see if he's ready to go this weekend or not. But nonetheless, these RedHawks are going to want revenge after what happened earlier this year.
Starting goaltenders tonight from Oxford for Omaha, it's Simon Latkozy, the junior, and a Trenčín, Slovakia, with his 18th appearance of the year. 8-9 record so far, 2.32 goals against, but a .932 save percentage. One of the tops in the NCHC, a conference, by the way, with 8 semifinalists for the Mike Richter Award, which will be announced at season's end. For the RedHawks, it's Bruno Braveras in net tonight. The sophomore to Riga, Latvia, making his 12th start and 14th appearance overall this year. 2-9-1 record for Bruno, a 3.9 goals against average and an .876 save percentage for a guy that has had the net to his own at times, has also had to share it this season. Health has played a part in that, interestingly, for Miami. You mentioned Ethan Dahlmeyer is dressed. However, it is Brett Miller that is listed second on the unofficial line charts. Again, that does not necessarily mean that Miller would be the one backing up Braveras this weekend, but a change certainly from what we saw with the RedHawks, at least on the sheet from earlier this season. We'll toss it off to public address and Scott Shriver for the rest of the Miami lineup. National anthem, puck drop coming up next. It's Miami and Omaha on Friday night here on Red Hawk Radio. Puck drop coming up in moments here from Cady Arena between Miami and Omaha. Again, the third and fourth meetings of the season between these two teams as we start to get into the repeats in NCHC play. Miami will host Omaha after dropping the first two games at Baxter Arena back in 2024. Officiating crew this evening, the referees are Jake Jackson and Justin Hills. Troy Merritt and Logan Belgraf are the linesmen of this NCHC crew. Omaha wearing the road black uniforms with white text reading Omaha on the front, white numbers on the front and back, the white double stripe on each side of the sleeve, the bottom of the jersey, and the socks. Omaha also, interestingly, one of the most unique helmets in all of Division I. They rock the matte black helmets with a three-dimensional Omaha logo stickered on the side. For Miami, they are in the alternates this evening, white with red Miami script across the front, the gray Love and Honor pinstripes up and down, red gloves and white helmets, red pants, and the white socks with the red stripes, two of them around the sides. Miami goes with Filion, Sullivan, Ambrosio to start the game, and for Omaha, it is Israels, Hillman, and Risk as the puck is dropped. And we are underway with the Mavericks winning the opening draw and dumping it into the Miami end. It is tapped down behind the RedHawk net by Bruno Braveris. RedHawks cannot clear, and it's held into the zone by Omaha for the moment. Puck in the right circle. Donato had trouble with it. Got poked dangerously in front of the Miami net. Rihard Simonovic's the first to it. He cannot clear, however. Now it's Sullivan on the far half while he flutters it off the glass and out to neutral ice where it's banged back in by Harrison Israels. One of a couple transfers from Alaska plays it back into the Miami end. RedHawks try to force it up ice quickly, and it's tipped up into the seats, and a pretty vacant student section that will not see RedHawk fans making their way back into it for a little over a week.
Yep.
MLK weekend, yeah, it's very quiet around town. A lot of snow on the ground. It's forced a lot of people back into their homes. RedHawks win the neutral ice draw and dump it from right to left into the Mavericks zone as Omaha quickly tried to outlet, but Max Dukovac, who's back from injury for the RedHawks, able to keep it in the zone for a moment. Now it's played through center. This will trickle all the way down the ice and in on Braveris, who will be forced not only to play it, but to cover. And 51 seconds into the period, it'll be an offensive zone face-off, and Mike Gabinet continues to rotate his lines pretty quickly. Not even a minute in, he's already going to go with his third combo as he will send out Tyler Rollwagon, Jimmy Glenn, and Brock Bremer to take this offensive zone draw on the near side of the ice. Miami's John Waldron has the puck stuck under his skates for a while, and now it's tapped to the near wall where it's quickly sent D-to-D, shot through traffic from the left point by Gratton. Is scooped up by Braveris with the trapper, and he hangs on. First shot on goal of the game, credited to the Penn State transfer Dylan Gratton, in an offensive zone faceoff coming up on the other side of the ice for Omaha. Mavericks 10-10 overall, 6-4 in the NCHC. Very strong weekend, as mentioned last weekend, with a sweep at number 13 Colorado College. Hoping that trend continues here in Oxford this weekend. Norland rips one out front, takes a tip. It's sitting on the edge of the crease. A couple whacks at it on the far side there for Bremer, but Braveris stood tall, and the RedHawks now have it below the goal line. Played up the near wing. It's Cargioello out at center, and now whacked ahead by Blake Messenberg with a two-hand chop in behind the Omaha cage. Bremer reverses it back to the near wing for Glenn. Skating it up the right side through the boards. He floats it out past center and down the left wing. It'll be brought into the offensive zone by Isaiah Norland. He's pinched off behind the Miami net, and the RedHawks will chip it out courtesy of Cargioello, who gets spilled in the Miami zone. Mavericks back with it and skating it directly down the center of the ice. Pinanimi laid it off. First shot attempt fanned on by Lurie. Second one went through. Now another try from the high slot, and that sails high. Back below the goal line. Pinanimi couldn't handle it. Cargioello throws a blind pass in front of his net. Fortunately, Dempsey was there for the RedHawks, and he'll leave off for Shapani, who crosses the center red and dumps in. RedHawks go for a change. We're 2:08 gone by in the first period. Turnover in front of the Omaha net. Puck is sitting between the hashes and finally directed behind the goal line by Broberg of Omaha. And the Swede will allow for a clear down the ice that'll end up just short of icing. And new troops onto the ice for the Mavericks. John Emmons now with it for Miami. The freshman skates it down the right side. His jump in got knocked out of the air and delayed at the blue line. RedHawks are offside, but now the Mavericks will just carry it out, and it's Gavin who will wrap it around the far side into the Miami end. Puck got between the wickets there of Brady Risk. Had a hat trick in the Friday game last week, and the RedHawks again will clear the zone. Omaha still with it, though, and it's Gavin kneeling down the near side. A collision between two Mavericks right at the blue line, and it will be punched in, but the RedHawks are there. Fillion skating it down the right side of the ice. He got spun around in front of the Miami bench, and now it's lofted back into the RedHawks zone. Spencer Cox back to grab it for Miami. Omaha went for changes, so the pressure alleviates as Cox will give it right to Omaha's defense in their own zone. D to the near wing. Nolan Krenzen tried to thread one through that would have sprung her all for a breakaway. Instead, he'll chase it down in the far corner and throw it through the slot, but he did not find the target in Watkins, who was a little too high. From the near side corner, it is knocked off the glass and out by Connor Hutchison, and now the RedHawks catch a break. Sullivan tried a shot. That got blocked, and from an awkward angle, he kind of chipped at the puck. That didn't find its way through either, and now Omaha will send it the length of the ice and just enough behind it to go for icing as Michael Quinn, the freshman, races it down, and we get a stoppage with 16:12 to go first period. Shots 2-1 in favor of Omaha and no score.
We were talking about this a little bit earlier, Luke, and how this Omaha group is not only an older group, but they're also not a very big group. They have two players that are over 6'1" in their lineup today, and Miami's not going to beat them with foot speed. They're going to beat them through hard forechecking and laying the body and really making plays on the puck in the offensive zone.
That is something that Anthony Noreen has wanted to turn into a strength as RedHawks give it away, and now Erdahl springing down the right side with speed. Could not get around Hutchison, though, who does well to poke check it to the near wall and prevent a breakaway from happening following that turnover. Coach Noreen talks a lot about getting pucks behind teams, and RedHawks, who have a decent amount of size, hoping they can play that to the advantage here this weekend. Puck glued out at neutral ice right now. It's Norland that has it just behind the center M. He'll play it near wall for Bremer, who stuttered before he crossed the blue line. Two teammates jumped into the zone first. That's offside with 15:28 to go first period. We will get a neutral ice draw.
And I think in a way this Omaha team kind of embodies what an Anthony Noreen team might look like here in the coming years. They're very fast. They make their plays quickly. Obviously their head coach is very into the game, very into making line changes, all about the strategy of the game of hockey. And obviously it'll take some time for Miami to be shaped like this Omaha team and kind of get to where they are now, but they're a fun team to watch.
Certainly. And they've been playing good hockey of late as well.
They're beating good teams.
Played it into the offensive zone by Miami. Shapani going to go to work on the forecheck. They're tied for 6th in the country with the most wins since December 1st. So the 10-10 record doesn't really stick out a ton, but a lot of those wins stacked over the last couple of months. Thrown in near the Miami cage. It was directed wide by Tyler Rollwagon. Some heavy forecheck being applied by Omaha right now and giving Miami's defense fits. Finally, it's just rung around the boards to the far side where it gets to the center red. Simonovic's on it for Miami. He'll pick it up and fire in down the near side. It's Shapani who forks it in deep. And now a D-to-D pass was cut off below the Omaha goal line. Off chased by Raymond Vitalins. It's tipped up into the protective netting. And the stoppage will bring an offensive zone faceoff here for Miami with 14:36 to go in the first period. Still looking for the icebreaker. Face-off won cleanly by Vitalins. A swing and a partial miss there by John Emmons. Still trickled in on net, but an easy save for Latkozy, and Omaha clears it out following the face-off. Moulton with it down the left side. No look pass backward for Spencer Cox, who rips it up the far wing for Theodore Forsander. He'll leave it on the far half wall where Vitalin's curls on it. Steps into the circle, drags and shoots. Save made. 2 pokes at it in front for Emmons. And Latkozy stood on the goal line and kept it out. Now Cox with a shot through traffic. That's stopped. Rebound bounced out. And Cox nearly had a second try, but it got past him. And Omaha clears down. And this will go all the way down for icing. Omaha went with a full 5-man change there, but I'm not sure what everyone was thinking. That had a lot behind it and went pretty clearly for icing. So the officiating crew's got to pull a bunch of guys off the bench, and now Miami will get another shot in the offensive zone.
Yeah, easily the best shift of the night so far for the RedHawks. Theodore Forsander, Raymond Vitalin's, and John Emmons listed as the 4th line tonight, but plenty of skill between those 3 guys. Also, shout out to Spencer Cox on the back end, was able to make a couple plays at the blue line and keep that puck in.
Face-off win by Miami, and it's Dukovac in the far circle. Waldron wants it in front. He was open on the back door, but Dukovac didn't see him. Now from the right circle, a shot. They score. It was Michael Quinn who just wristed one through traffic. It hit an Omaha defender in front, and that puck just side-spun barely inside the right post. And the RedHawks strike first on the weekend with Michael Quinn's 3rd career goal. It's 1-0 Miami.
Trying to look and see if this hit anything. I wonder.
That might have actually got the skate, of Casper Nassen.
He went first in line, but nonetheless, a great face-off win by Johnny Waldron. And like you said, Luke, he went to the back door and was banging his stick emphatically in front of the net. But nonetheless, the RedHawks get a fortunate bounce and the first goal of this game.
And Nassen is the one who's going to get the goal, so check that. It's not the 3rd for Quinn of the season, but instead for Casper Nassen, it is the 5th of the year for the freshman out of Sweden. RedHawks still with it down the right side now, and Dukovac leaves it for Nassen. Off for Michael Quinn, who had a great look, but it got poked off his stick from the inner right hash, and Omaha will clear it out. Quinn backing up on it, and he'll flutter it through neutral ice. It missed the swing attempt by John Waldron, who'll have to go in on the forecheck. Omaha working back through, and will thread it through neutral ice with a lateral pass to Watkins. It's poked off his stick just as he entered the Miami zone, and will stay at neutral ice, forcing the Mavericks to regroup. Down the left side, Watkins couldn't push it in deep. Fillion will play it softly off the wall. And again, the RedHawks a little bit jumbled at the blue line, so they'll have to delay before the RedHawks dump it in. Fillion tried to then take the dump in and tip it in front. That was quickly intercepted, and now Strang down the right side tries to throw one in front, and that is intercepted by Nick Donato, who will backhand it out through center. 12:26 to go, first period, and the freshman Casper Nassen, off a fortunate tip, has given Miami a 1-0 lead. Dempsey shovels it down the far side of the ice, just barely escapes the zone despite the best efforts from Joe Kramer. One of 3 freshmen in the basement of this Omaha defensive unit. Defensemen 5, 6, and 7, all first years for this Mavericks team. In the offensive zone, it's Norland waiting, and now taking it down the right wall. He will throw one out in front that got tipped by 2 RedHawks. Moulton was the one who chopped it up in the air, and that will allow the RedHawks to clear it. Omaha with a quick regroup. Miami does get a partial change in, and now the dump in is tipped right to Dylan Moulton. Will try to go up the ice with speed. Off a feed for Chapani. He leaves it for Messenberg. Messenberg spun around in the left circle, now spun around again. Well defended there as his pocket is picked by Jacob Slipik, who plays it forward for the Mavericks. Pinanimi back into the Miami end, will play it behind the cage, and Michael Quinn will rope it up the near wall where Matt Chapani tips it into the offensive zone. Picked up by Jacob Gavin, who will circle around the near side and feed up for Slipik. Taps around the check of Hutchison in deep and lays a hit on Michael Quinn. RedHawks, though, did get it up the ice quickly, but Theodore Forsander turned it over just before the RedHawks could get it out of the zone, and they'll be forced to try and break it out a second time. They do with a pass up the far side, but it's tipped by Ludke away from Vitalin's and in to the Omaha bench. So going back to that goal, it was a shot through traffic. Hit Emmons, hit a Maverick afterward, went into the net. It is the goal, rather not Emmons, Casper Nassen. It is his goal and his 5th of the year has got Miami in front 1-0. 10:55 to go, first period. We'll be back. RedHawks with an early advantage. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. $10:55 to go, first period. Miami leads it 1-0 over Omaha. The goal by Kasper Nassen, Systemax Dukovac, and Michael Quinn. And a lucky bounce, Jeff, but an earned one after a couple strong shifts in a row for the RedHawks. After a relatively slow start, they now have the shots advantage and lead.
Yeah, and it's all about setting the tone here, especially first home series back in front of your own fans. You know, you want to. It's good to be home. It's good to be back, and it's good to be playing against a team that's really going to test you, and this is exactly what the Mavericks are going to do. And as of now, Miami's been up to the task.
RedHawks get it into the offensive zone. A tipped shot out in front. It was Nassen that got the redirect in front, but it went wide off the wrister in from Nick Donato. Logjam in the far corner. It's pulled out by Johnny Waldron for the RedHawks. Now Simonovic plays it intentionally wide, and it finds Dukovac behind the cage. He will try to circle, and he gets pinned along the wall by Broberg, who gets some ovation from the Omaha bench. There's a stray stick that has found its way, pushed all the way up the far wall, and meanwhile Miami's still with it as Dukovac dances through the far circle, trying to find space to the center point, finds Simonovic waiting and shooting. Save made with the blocker by Latkozy. Really nice creation there by Simonovic. Looked like he had a ton of room to shoot at, but excellent hands for Latkozy to punch that one away. Across the midway mark of the first period as the Mavericks clear, and Miami's got a jump on Omaha. Stark difference to the first series between these two teams, which was, truth be told, 120 minutes of better Maverick hockey. To the near wall, it is poked in by Erdahl past Dylan Moulton. Chasing back on it, Spencer Cox will play it up the far boards. RedHawks break it out, and it's Colby Ambrosio up ahead. Ambrosio takes a return feed, tosses it out in front. Got poked away from Moulton. RedHawks still with it, though. And down the right side, it's Raymond Zvitalin circling. Forced to shovel it in deep, and Omaha reinforcements waiting behind for it. It's skated back out to neutral ice by Joe Kramer, who will play it in. Mavericks finish up their change, and so that allows the RedHawks to get it up with speed. Forsander down the middle of the ice, delayed for just a second. Mini 3-on-2 there for Miami was available, but the RedHawks a half step offside, and we get a stoppage with 9:09 to go in the first period. RedHawks still leading 1-0.
Yeah, just a little hesitation by Forsander at the blue line. Tried to make a move around one man, but was unable to do so and caused the RedHawks to go offside. But like you said, Luke, just a completely different looking RedHawks team in terms of their speed against the Mavericks compared to what we saw in the first series between these two teams. It's really been fun hockey to watch so far.
Ludke plays it ahead down the far side, and it is directed into the Miami end, where Connor Hutchison plays it across the ice and back out. Circling around the center circle, Omaha now with it, and it's Norlin on the right side. D to the far wing for Griffin Ludke, junior and alternate captain out of Elko, Minnesota. Forsander tried to shift it in, but could not do so for Miami, and instead Bremer will tap it in for the Mavericks to their offensive zone. 2-on-2 battle below Miami's goal line, inching towards the near corner. It's plucked out and gone to the far side now. Simonovic with help from Messenberg, will get it out to center as the RedHawks will finish up their change. And always hard on the forecheck, Blake Messenberg goes in to lay ahead. Omaha, though, keeps possession, and Bremer will play it to nobody. RedHawks nearly force a 2-on-1 there with Shapani and Carangioello trying to get a feed. Instead, they will go to work on the forecheck and do so successfully. Miami wins possession in the offensive zone. Messenberg from the left circle, fires, save made. Maybe a bit of a tip there by Shapani, and a rebound available. RedHawks couldn't get to it, though. Simonovic's then trying to fire it in. He slipped, and now it's poked out, and a 2-on-1 developing. Lurie drag, shoots, and a pad save made by Braveris with the right leg, and no rebound as it ends up on the far boards. Messenberg pokes the puck ahead. It squirts out of the zone, and Matt Shapani will wrap it to the near side of the ice. Not down, though, and Lurie quickly back in with it for Omaha, but his back pass got intercepted, and here comes Dukovac. Maybe a 3-on-2. Plays it across the ice. An excellent pass, but unfortunately for the RedHawks, Johnny Waldron just didn't catch it in a great spot, and he took a tumble and lost possession. Omaha will play it back in. Lurie, who's had a pretty solid shift for UNO, will end it with a dump in. And now Johnny Waldron trying to drag it through center, got obviously tripped, and that'll bring a penalty. So kind of created something out of nothing there. He was skating it down the left side of the ice, and it looked like he almost looked for the stick, saw it was there, and then skated directly into it. But that's a trip, and that will send the RedHawks to the game's first power play. Omaha very good on the penalty kill. They were a perfect 6 for 6 last week. Miami will try to break that and add to this lead that currently stands at 1-0 with 7:05 to go in the first. Miles Hillman, the freshman out of Alberta, called for 2 for tripping.
Yeah, first of all, this first line of Dukovac, Waldron, and Nassen has been phenomenal so far tonight, but also just want to shout out this third line of Carangioello, Messenberg, and Chupani. All three of them were in the near corner forechecking, and that's how the shot from Messenberg came to be. Grid shot and a better save by Latkozy, obviously, but I mean, that's the kind of grit that it's going to take to win this game.
One-timer from the right dot by Sullivan, as that flamed wide off the face-off. RedHawks nearly got popped for a potential odd man rush opportunity with only one man on the point. Instead, a pretty high percentage chance opened up the other way for Sullivan. Miami gets it back into the zone. A fanned-on slap shot attempt, though, from Gavin does not let him clear. RedHawks rip it along the far boards, and Johnny Waldron will play it up to the point. Quinn back down for Waldron in the circle. Sullivan left it, but his passing attempt was partially thwarted, and it's taken and skated back out by Stam Strang, leaving it off a dragon shot by Israels. Got blocked with a sprawl by Nassik. So the RedHawks have developed a couple of chances, but haven't really generated a shot off of them yet. What is a pretty high pressure penalty kill from Omaha. Second unit on, they get it into the offensive zone for Miami, and it's Ambrosio on the near side for the RedHawks, who will push it in deep. Now it's Shapani and Fillion working in the near corner. Pulled out, though, by the Mavericks as that squirted between the legs of Krenzen, and Israels will play it down. Played up ahead for the RedHawks by Braveris, all the way to the near blue line where Ambrosio pushes it in. Now Shapani wraps it back up near point. Ambrosio grabs it on the backhand, fumbled with it for a moment. Fillion the reinforcement. We got a penalty coming up.
It's going to be Ambrosio for a trip, I believe.
And it is.
Tried to grab the puck that was kind of loose in the Omaha defender's legs and ended up getting his legs with his stick, and now it'll be 4-on-4 for 22 seconds before Omaha goes to their first power play of the game.
So there goes Miami's man advantage opportunity. Again, that first line did a couple of good things in terms of getting somebody the puck in the right spot, but couldn't really get a good shot on goal. And then that second unit really struggled to get any sort of possession in the offensive zone. And now Miami's going to have to go to work on an abbreviated kill following some 4-on-4 time. 22 seconds remaining on the penalty to Miles Hillman for tripping. Colby Ambrosio now sitting on the Miami side of the box for tripping as well. With 5:26 to go in the first, it's still a 1-0 Miami lead. So we skate 4 aside for now, and it's Glynn circling the zone, who will hand it off on the left point for Grattan. Walking it down, he will sauce it through the middle of the ice. It is kicked up in the air by Richard Simonovics. and he'll shovel it behind his own network. Donato nearly turned it over. He was fumbling with the puck, but poked it away from Glynn. As the penalty expires to Hillman, RedHawks just hang on to possession, and now it's Donato who will chip it down the far wall and the length of the ice to get the RedHawks their first clear of this penalty kill. Omaha 1 for 7 last week on the man advantage. And down the near side, Lurie left alone, and he scores. They got it into the offensive zone, and Miami had all eyes on the far side of the ice. Lurie got free, and from the inside hash on the near wing of the ice, he rips it over the left shoulder of Bruno Braveras to tie the game on the power play with 4:42 to go in the first.
Yeah, I mean, just a great zone entry, and like you said, Luke, all RedHawk eyes, all 4 penalty killers were facing toward the puck. Nobody picked up Lurie on the backside, and we talked about how aggressive the Omaha penalty kill is, but they have guys on the backside that are looking for that rim around, and Miami's penalty killers just all puck watching in the defensive zone, and Lurie just walked into the slot and found the back of the net over Bruno Braveras' shoulder. Nothing he can do about that one.
Lurie from Ludke and Rollwagon. Time of the goal, 15-18 for the Mavericks. For Charlie Lurie, the sophomore, that is his 4th of both his season and career. And it has evened the game in the late stages of this first period. Wraparound try, meanwhile, Omaha poking at the near post. Where is the puck? There's a complete battle ensuing. Bodies flying in the crease. Puck squirted out the far side, and the RedHawks grabbed it, and looked like someone on the Miami bench might have touched that clearing attempt, but we play on as the RedHawks push it deep. So a chaotic sequence in front for the RedHawks as Theodore Forsander trying to pry away below the Maverick goal line. Omaha, though, gets it ahead, and into the offensive zone goes Liam Watkins. Around to the far side. It is pushed back in deep where the puck finds Zach Erdahl. Erdahl to the far wall for Joe Kramer. Back out in front, they score. It's Watkins on the one-timer. It hit off the back bar and ricocheted back out. Both teams kind of half played with it for an extra second or two. But Liam Watkins, the freshman, with his first career goal. Just about a minute after Omaha tied the game, they now take a 2-1 lead with 3:27 to go in the first.
And once again, every single RedHawk was looking toward the puck. Nobody was checking the backside. John Emmons was the man in the slot and just not even checking behind him. Unfortunate goal, and again, nothing Bruno Braveras could do there, as it was Erdahl who won a 2-on-1 battle below the goal line as well to fork that puck to his teammate on the far half wall, as that one's a weird bounce there, but nonetheless, a frustrating goal if you're Miami. Got to be a little bit more consistent in the defensive zone.
Waldron down the right side, plays it to the slot for Dukovac, who could not drag it by the sliding defender in Rollwagon. Puck at the left point, Cox will shoot it through traffic that might have been blocked potentially by Waldron or got Lacozy in the chest. Either way, it stays out, and the puck's back out past center ice. Nasson got tugged down there in a battle for the puck, and the Miami bench erupted, but nothing will come of it, and yet again, a play up the near side is deflected down the ice and into the stands. And that will bring a whistle with 2:39 to go in the first period. And Omaha has flipped the script. They now lead it 2-1. Latest tally by Liam Watkins, the freshman, appearing in just his 4th career game with his first career goal. And the Mavericks with a 2-1 lead here on the road late in the first period. We're back to Cady Arena after this. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. 2:39 to go, first period. Omaha leads Miami 2-1 after a couple of quick ones by the Mavericks. The first on the power play, the second at even strength after Miami struck first. And Jeff, taking a look at those replays on each of the two goals, could see all four and then all five players on the ice for Miami. Everybody's on the strong side, and a whole lot of puck watching going on by the RedHawks in the D zone.
Yeah, and we've mentioned it time and time again against these NCHC teams. Defensive breakdowns just can't happen, and when they do, you get scored on. And clearly, even though Miami had the better of the play for the first 10, 12 minutes, Omaha, like you said, Luke, has flipped the script here.
RedHawks did clear it out of the zone. Mavericks trying to get it back in, but puck was poked away from Liam Watkins, one of the goal scorers for the Mavericks. Out at neutral ice, Hutchison will play it in for Miami. RedHawks are going for a change, so a pretty light forecheck being put on as the Mavericks play it out through center. Simonovic kicks it to himself, does well to dangle it through traffic, but he handled it on the blue line. And the RedHawks jumped in offside. That was $1 million move right there by Simonovic to set up that opportunity. Got, I think, a lot of people in this building pretty excited at what looked like it could be a 3 or 4-on-2 rush, but RedHawks gone offside. We get another whistle with 1:57 to go. Lined up quickly. They'll get the puck on the ice here on the far wing.
It's our favorite play, making moves at the blue line.
I'll give teams the benefit of the doubt that where we are here, we get a very good viewpoint anytime it happens, but it feels like it happens a lot.
Yes.
Omaha wins the draw, gets it into the Miami zone. RedHawks will skate it out through center and into the Maverick end, where a bouncing puck is finally settled beneath the goal line by the Mavericks, and Krenzen gets crunched by Messenberg. Israels will throw a behind-the-back pass up for Risk, who can skate it barely out of his own zone. Chapani grabbed it and tried to circle into the Omaha end, but we get a whistle for a hand pass with 1:23 left in our opening period. And this will back the faceoff up all the way into Miami's end.
It's been a long period.
It has been.
Lots of back and forth action and penalties and goals, and first home series of 2025 is living up so far.
Certainly. Puck dropped and face-off won by the RedHawks, but Miami unable to clear it initially as Dylan Moulton grabs a chip out of the air and will turn it over in the far circle. Dragon shot from a sharp angle by Bremer, sticked aside by Braveris. Bremer still on it. He is hauled off the puck now by the RedHawks, and a 2-on-2 opportunity ahead for Waldron and Dukovac. Dukovac down the right side, slams the brakes, puck poked off his stick. Waldron there to recover it and plays it back behind his back for Max Dukovac. Under a minute to play now, 47 seconds to go in the period. It's Johnny Waldron from the near wing. Cross point pass for Moulton, and now Cox through traffic that hit a shin pad. You could hear it from here as Cox has it at the left point once more. Waldron down the near boards. He is pinned, and the puck flies through the middle of the ice and is clipped out to the neutral zone by Rollwagon for Omaha. Cox had the puck without anybody pressuring him, took a hard fall, and now the RedHawks will turn it over right outside their blue line. Erdahl taps it down the left side, a shot in, and a save made against Sam Stang. Leading scorer for Omaha by Braveris. Norland has it now and will play it point to point for Grattan. Gets a return feed and shoots one in with not much time left. That flies way high, and a really awkward way to end that period for Miami. Not a good final shift for the RedHawks, who gave up a couple unnecessary chances in a period that they already did not close well after leading 1-0 and having the better of the first 12 minutes or so. Couple breakdowns in quick succession see the RedHawks fall down 2-1 at the end of 20 minutes. And Miami will go to the locker room trailing on night one of this series. Again, intensity-wise, can't be too displeased by what the RedHawks showed, Jeff, but in terms of using your head, Miami just didn't have it in a couple of spots, and those get cashed in. It feels like at a really high clip for the RedHawks, but that's just the reality, the quality of teams you play on the schedule.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that, you know, we've experienced it throughout this season when we've watched NCHC teams come in and play, is that, you know, Miami has a couple plays within a 2 to 3 minute span that put them on the wrong end of the scoreboard. You know, you're up 1-0, you get a fortunate bounce. Sometimes it feels like those are hard to come by, and then you start feeling good about yourself. Like you said, the intensity was good. I thought that the play for most of the first half of the period was pretty strong. I thought that they were the better team. But then, once again, you take a tripping penalty. Colby Ambrosio takes a tripping penalty, and then you give up a power play goal. And then immediately after, you give up another goal, and both because of the same thing, where you're just puck watching on the strong side. And, you know, it's frustrating, but those are the kind of things that you need to clean up against these kind of opponents.
End of one here from Cady Arena. Our score, Omaha 2 and Miami 1. Night one of the series here from Cady Arena. Jeff and I will be back for period number 2 in just about 15 minutes time. For now, we'll send things to break. When we come back, Will Salzarulo has a Red Hawk Radio intermission report. That coming up again on the other side of the break. 2-1 Omaha after 20. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first intermission show. I'm your host, William Salzarulo, and let's just get right to it. The first goal of the night was scored by the Miami RedHawks. Goal by Casper Naston, assisted by Max Dukovac and Michael Quinn. Omaha responded a few minutes later on the power play by goal by Charlie Lurie and assisted by Griffin Lutke and Tyler Rollwagon. Immediately after that, Omaha once again scored on the RedHawks. Goal by Liam Watkins, assisted by Joe Kramer and Zach Erdahl. Penalties. We had 2 penalties in the first period. Omaha with a 2-minute penalty for tripping, and Miami also with a 2-minute penalty for tripping. Shots on net. Miami had 8 shots on net, while Omaha had 9. So pretty close when it comes to shots on net in the first period. In conclusion, Miami with 1 goal and Omaha with 2. A great start to the game. Great first period overall. I can't wait to see what happens next. I'm your host, Will Salzarulo. Next is Puck Drop for period number 2. Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon.
2-1 Omaha after 20 minutes here from Cady Arena. Second period about to begin. Luke Poley and Jeff Middleton with you. We'll be back with you tomorrow night as well. 7:05 puck drop between the RedHawks and the Mavericks in Game 2 of the series. Here in Game 1 in the opening period, outside of really that first shift, it was a pretty good start for Miami when you look at how they fared through about the 10-minute mark or so, but Omaha, within the span of just about a minute, flipped things on Miami, put in a couple of goals, one on the power play, one at even strength. And always, right? That really did the RedHawks in that first period, Jeff, and kind of fell over the finish line of that first. And down just a goal, can't hate it given the way that things ended in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at it comparatively to the last series that these two teams played, Miami only scored one goal over 48 hours, so you'll take it, and I think that, you know, they dominated that first 10 minutes, really, and the secret to success is there. You know, you have to get in on the forecheck, you have to put a body on somebody, really make the smart passes, and they don't have to be, you know, they don't have to be complicated. A lot of their success through the neutral zone especially was made through kind of tic-tac-toe passing, short passes, but crisp and able to get it through to the open spaces. And you know, you mentioned it in the first period as well, like this Omaha team they're aggressive, they're fast, and they know that they're fast, and they're going to play fast, and they're going to play aggressive, and sometimes that means they overcommit. So you just got to find the weak areas of ice, and in the second period you really got to get back to your game.
Underway here in this second period, Miami wins the draw, and they will throw it in on net. Now Omaha will take it, throw it down the ice, not on net, and it will be icing. So RedHawks go from left to right, Mavericks from right to left here in period 2. Couple of old CCHA foes for a little while. Omaha then departed for the WCHA, and these teams have been back in the NCHC for what's now about a decade, which is pretty crazy to think about. Fillion risks one through, and from the near wall, that's an easy save for Latkozy. Back in the near corner, the puck ends up behind the net where Gavin cannot clear it, and the RedHawks will bang it back in. Christophe Fillion settles it near corner of the offensive zone, fighting 1-on-2 against a couple of Mavericks. Now help arrives via Ryan Sullivan. Mavericks do pull it away, but pushed on the ice up the far side, and Simonovics with an easy zone hold to play it back in deep. RedHawks go for a partial change, and that'll spell the end of this time in the offensive zone, as that allows the Mavericks to get it into the RedHawk end. Skated down the left side by Miles Hillman. RedHawks do, though, take it away, and now it's Dukovac down the right wing. Dukovac enters the zone, pushes it off for Johnny Waldron. Past him, puck ends up in the corner. RedHawks pull it out, and from the far point, it is Moulton pushing it in deep. Waldron wraps it around, finds Dukovac. Right shot from the hash. And the save made by Latkozy as Dukovac throws his head to the sky a little bit. That found his skate. He kicked it right to his stick and threw it 5-hole on Latkozy. And it looked like it snuck through initially, but Latkozy squeezed it between the legs to hang on.
Once again, this first line going to work. Dukovac, like you said, Luke, got the puck right in his skate. Had it been to his stick, it probably would have been a goal. Latkozy was a little late coming over, but nonetheless, Dukovac shot it, and there's going to be a penalty here for a hold.
Dukovac muscled his way to the net front and used his one free arm to actually throw a shot on goal, but the other arm was being grabbed pretty tightly there, and that will result in Dylan Gratton heading it to the penalty box, and that'll put Miami on their second power play. So Gratton, the Penn State transfer, sits 2 for holding, and the RedHawks will be on the man advantage for the second time. First time they were unsuccessful, although they did not quite get a full 2 minutes, with Colby Ambrosio taking a tripping penalty.
This offensive zone draw, it's been where they've created most of their offensive chances, has been off of offensive zone draws. You know, not really on the rush or anything like that. A lot has come off these face-offs, and Sullivan won it, but nobody was there to grab the puck, and now it's all the way back in the RedHawk zone. And setting up, like we mentioned earlier in the last period, setting up was their problem last time on the power play, so we'll see what they can do here.
Waldron skates it diagonally through center, and it's taken away. Staying down the right side, drag, shoots, and it's tipped up into the netting by Michael Quinn. Sam Stang, the ever dangerous Wisconsin transfer, leads the Mavericks with 9 goals, and with a takeaway and a quick burst, could have had a 10th. Fortunately, Michael Quinn was back defensively there for Miami, who will make a full 5-man change before this defensive zone faceoff. 19 seconds in it to the power play.
Yeah, just not good enough from that first unit, and we saw at the last power play that even breaking out was a little bit of an issue against a really, really tough Omaha forecheck, and there was an example there. Thankfully, Michael Quinn was back and made the defensive play.
Hutchison skates it down the left side. He'll dump it in. Licozzi comes out of the net to stop it and will try to ice it himself. It got partially blocked down by Ambrosio, but still finds its way out of the zone.
Dangerous play there, but the benefit of having a goalie that can really play the puck like Cozy can.
Shapani dangles his way down the left side, enters the zone, and shovels it along the wall up to the near wing now. Spencer Cox had his stick tossed across the ice with a swipe of the stick there by Israels. And Griffin Ludke will take the loose puck and clear it down. 55 seconds to go in the penalty. 2-1 Omaha lead with 17:24 to go, middle period. Miami really has got nothing done on this man advantage, and again will cough it up as Hutchison tried to pass it forward and could not find a teammate. Braveris out of his net to hold on to the clear, and he will give a little bit of a pick to give some space for Hutchison. Now at center ice, Waldron throws it to the far boards where Dukovac skates it down the left side, took a tumble, and officiating crew says enough on his own to not warrant a penalty there, although looked like he wanted it. Back along the near wing, a very hard backhand clear there is given by Sam Stang, and RedHawks again back to square one. Waldron across the center end, through the center of the ice, drags and shoots. That ended up just wide of the left post. Time expiring on the penalty, and it will come to an end with Miami now 0 for 2 on the man advantage. Still with it though, Michael Quinn throws one in front. Now Waldron trying to tuck it in off the bank, off the end boards. Could not do so though, the RedHawks do keep it alive. Waldron, back up Quinn, shooting, it's just wide off the give and go. A beautiful setup between Quinn and Waldron, but a couple of shots wide, and now the RedHawks will have a one-on-one up ahead. It's Theodore Forsander losing it as he tries to dangle, and he'll have to go on the forecheck now. So the power play really did not do much, and then as soon as Dylan Granton returned to the ice, Miami finally started to be a little productive. It's cleared down the ice by Omaha and will go over the goal line and down for icing, as the officiating crew will have to head over and sort things out in front of the Maverick bench as they were in the middle of a partial change.
And that was 3 shots in succession that came from the slot and missed the net. And if you're Coach Anthony Noreen, you're happy with the chances that were created. Obviously, great setup from Johnny Waldron and Michael Quinn on that last one, but if you're going to get those high danger chances, you got to make sure you hit the net.
RedHawks win the draw, and Emmons finds Moulton, who wrists one through, and a shoulder save made at the last moment by Latkozy. And Omaha will clear it out, at least as far as center. RedHawks will tip it back in, and Emmons hustling ahead to go after it. Wins the puck for Raymond Vitalins, who gives it up to the point. Cox from the left side, shifts his feet, now backing up, wrists one that gets blocked with the stick by Erdahl. Off the end boards, Emmons though wins it, will shovel it back up left point. Nick Donato playing it back in deep for Miami. Puck skitters to the near wing. Cox in on a pinch, seals the wall. And now it's Vitalins in the right circle, tucking it through traffic. He will backhand it up center point for Cox, who shoots one just wide. Pops off the point of the dasher up in the air and back out to center ice, where Vitalins is on it. And we'll play it forward for John Emmons. Puck on the center ice dot now, and Emmons will backhand it for Spencer Cox, who just handles in his own zone as the RedHawks will finish up a change. Messenberg tips it into the Omaha end, and Latkozy will direct it to the far side, where the Mavericks make quick work of the breakout and get it into the RedHawk end. Swipe at it for Brady Risk. His shot got blocked, and now Chapani takes it down the left lane and dumps it partway into the Omaha zone. At the right point, this is Michael Quinn to the half wall for Caragiello, circling. His pass to the far point got intercepted, and now Israel's down the left side with speed, throws one in front, looking for Hillman, who will now throw it back up for Israel's, and that got blocked at the last moment before he could pull a trigger from the bottom of the left circle. Puck back at center. Caragiello will toss it off the wall and in. RedHawks will change 5 guys on the ice as Messenberg finishes it off, alleviating the forecheck. Omaha was holding behind their net. Now up the near wing, it's Erdal tipping it in for the Mavericks. Ambrosio plays it in front for Sullivan. Down the left side goes Connor Hutchison, who will toss it rink wide, and the RedHawks with a hard forecheck. Filion went banging into the end wall with a lot of volume. As the puck comes back out to center, and it is Sullivan who had to play it in twice as the first attempt got blocked. Back out at center, Cox off the wall. And it's Sullivan trying to tuck that through traffic for Filion, who was alone on the left side of the ice, but it didn't get to him. And the Mavericks will push it back in deep. In the Miami end, Simonovic almost turned it over at neutral ice, but Filion laid a hit on Bremer to ensure Miami possession. Ambrosio lost it. Now he's pinned along the near wall by Dylan Gratton, who's without a stick. Mavericks taking it down the center of the ice as Glynn threw it off the far boards. RedHawks with it now, as in front of their bench, gonna have to be very careful with the change. Waldron will take it out and will sauce it waist high. Back to his defense, and Spencer Cox will provide the dumping. A lot of ping-ponging back and forth right now. Not a lot of possession over these last few minutes. 12:31 remaining in the second period, and a turnover. From a sharp angle, a shot off the post, and a rebound gets blocked. It was Waldron that came out on Pinanimi to make the block after a costly turnover there below the RedHawks' own goal line, but Waldron laid out to step in front of a wide open net there and prevented a sure goal. 12:05 to go in the middle period, still 2-1 Omaha. And the RedHawks again back below their own goal line. It's Dukovac that will spear it forward for Spencer Cox, and now wrapping it back to the far side, it's Dukovac once more, this time with a little more space. Dukovac will work diagonally across the center red and try to shove it in. Omaha will take it though, and it's Slipik up ahead with speed. Slipik on the backhand, drive to the net front, fires, and a save made by Braveris with the glove. Slipik just waited, cut all the way across the net, hoping for Braveris to give him the upper part of the net. And Braveris stood tall the whole time and robbed him with the glove. Immediate timeout with 11:38 to go in the second period. Couple of plays that easily could have ended up in Miami's net did not. Still a 2-1 hockey game led by Omaha. We're back to Cady Arena after this. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. .38 remaining in the second period. It's Omaha 2 and Miami 1. Couple of grade A chances prior to the media timeout for the Mavericks. One got blocked with a dive by Johnny Waldron. The other one required a top-tier save from Bruno Braveris. And The lead stays at 1 for the Mavericks as Miami wins a defensive zone draw and will clear it out. Hutchison bats the puck out of the air out at center, but it's picked up by the Mavericks. Hutchison, though, reaches around Miles Hillman to pull that puck away from him. Mavericks, though, do get it into the offensive zone, and from the near corner offensive end, Risk trying to force it in behind. Puck pops right back to him, where he will wrist one high and wide. Off the glass it goes, and back out to center. Gratton will play it back in for the Mavericks, and Vitalin's on it now for the RedHawks on the far wall. Across the ice on the near wing, it's Emmons trying to force his way through to the near corner offensive zone. He gets muscled behind by Gratton. Those two pinned along the boards right behind the net, feet on the NCHC logo. Time continuing to tick, and the puck squirts free on the near side. Nick Donato pinching down, throws one through, save made. Rebound to Dukovac from a soft angle. Got the shot away. Lukosi stopped him too. Back up from the right point, Donato plays it centrally for Semenovics, and it's poked off his stick. He had 3 Mavericks bracketing him. And Omaha takes it through. It's thrown out in front by Stang, and just a little too far for Erdahl, who did his best to try and dive and bat it on net. Instead, it skitters through the slot. No shot for Omaha as the puck slowly makes its way back out to center. Erdahl taking it right back in, trying to dangle his way to the net front. Waldron, the one to strip it away for the RedHawks. And he will backhand it at center ice to an empty area where the Mavericks will play it back in. Donato below his own goal line, gave it away, and a wraparound try to the right circle. Shot through, goes high for Bremer. Another bad giveaway by the RedHawks below their own goal line. Now it's Waldron finding Caragiello, back for Waldron on the near side. He throws a pass directly to a Maverick there, and roll wagon as he was looking for Shapani on the far side. Omaha will take it back to the offensive end. Glenn tried to tuck one in front, and that got blocked, and the RedHawks will break it out. Moulton skates it across the M, shoves it against the near wall. But Omaha will quickly put it back towards Miami's defense. RedHawks zone entry again results in a loss of possession, but now the forecheck wins it back. Shapani throws it through the slot. It flew past the back door with nobody on it for Miami and ended up back on the near wall. Moulton takes a tour of the zone, leaves it behind the net for Blake Messenberg. In the near corner, back up top, Spencer Cox. Left point, it is Michael Quinn. Tossing one wide left to the cage. Tucked out to the back door by Christoph Fillion. Bouncing puck. Missed the effort for Blake Messenberg. Quinn center point now. Leaves it left circle. Hutchison. He fires, and that goes high and wide. Contact in front. Lukosi got turned around. He's now without a stick. RedHawks still with it. Messenberg throws it across the ice to nobody, and the Mavericks will clear it down. And this will be icing.
Another great possession for the RedHawks, one that just doesn't result in a shot on goal. A great play by Fillion to body his man off and try and make the play to the front of the net with the puck, but nobody's there to put it in. And then, not sure what Blake Messenberg was looking for on the far side, but ended up throwing it to nobody and resulted in an Omaha icing. But nonetheless, got to start hitting the net when you get these chances. And not sure if it would have resulted in anything in terms of goalie interference. There was a lot of people, a lot of bodies in front, but guess we'll never know.
Off the face-off, a shot got tipped in front by Sullivan, and it hopped its way wide. Again, it's grabbed by Omaha, who will just lift it down the ice, and this will go down for icing. And now you're getting to the point where you might consider taking a timeout potentially if you're Mike Cabinet. That's the second time we've seen kind of a no-brainer ice there for the Mavericks. That's prevented the line change.
And if you're the RedHawks, this is one of those areas where you really need to take advantage. And, it's not often you get these kind of chances, but 2 straight icings from a team like Omaha. You've got tired bodies on the ice. Got to hit the net. Got to try and put one in here.
Face-off is won by the Mavericks. Played along the far wall, and Omaha does tip it out, and it will be short of icing. Mavericks can't change everybody, but they'll get 3 guys off the ice for now. Donato carrying it forward and finding Ambrosio on the near wing. He'll take a slap shot that ends up high and wide. Sullivan will force it back in deep where the puck rolled on by Ambrosio, and up the near wall, a turnover. Sullivan in front, backhands one, save made, rebound in front. A stick snapped in half. It belongs to Sullivan, and Omaha clears it out. Now down the right side, it's picked up in the far corner by Slipik. He throws it to the near wall where some hand fighting ensues and ends up all the way with Marcus Broberg at the left point. Broberg across for Krenzen. Back for Broberg left side. He throws one through traffic. That got blocked and went straight up in the air in the left circle. Mavericks still with it. Broberg walking, firing wide. And down the left side now, Vitalins works it out of the zone for the RedHawks. Vitalins head up looking for options, but everybody's changing, so he'll be forced to rim it down the far side. And puck came up in front of the Miami bench. Dylan Moulton tried to glove it down, and he whacked it right into the RedHawk bench to get us to a media timeout. 6:52 to go, second period. Still 2-1 Mavericks in a back and forth second. We'll be back after this. You're listening to Miami Hockey, on Red Hawk Radio. .652 remaining, second period. It's Omaha 2 and Miami 1. All goals coming from the first. Alongside Jeff Middleton, Luke West-Poley with you. Both Dylan Moulton and Anthony Noreen had pretty lengthy conversations with the officiating crew during that media timeout. Not super sure what that's about, but regardless, RedHawks will win the faceoff and rip it into the offensive zone. Following up what's been a pretty good last couple minutes for Miami, although they have not found the scoreboard. Dylan Moulton pinching in the far corner on it for the RedHawks. Cleared up the far wall by Omaha. Blake Messenberg swung and missed at it to try and keep it in the zone. Spencer Cox tried to re-dump it and threw it into the RedHawk bench. Center ice draw coming up with 6.5 to go in the period. And Anthony Noreen wants to make a line change and send out his top line, who've had a pretty good game, Jeff. Dukovac, Waldron, and Nasson.
Yeah, and I think that they're a unique line because they're all pretty large players. Waldron's listed at 6 foot. He's the smallest. Nasson at 6'4" is the biggest, and Dukovac's kind of right in between at 6'1", but they all play different styles of games. Dukovac's got the speed. Nasson has that powerful shot, and Waldron's just a fantastic playmaker, so loved what they've done so far tonight.
RedHawks in their defensive zone, and Omaha with a takeaway behind the RedHawk cage. It is Stang getting it up to the point, and a shot through the slot got tipped by Erdahl, did not find its way on, and the RedHawks will clear. Waldron down the near side, across the ice, he finds Hutchison tape to tape, who will put it off the glass and into the offensive zone. RedHawks beginning their change as the Mavericks outlet back to center. Erdahl had it stuck in his skates, and so he'll just stop and fork it into the offensive zone as John Waldron sidesteps Bremer and will work his way through the center of the ice. Waldron tried to backhand it to the near side. That pass got stopped up and taken away by the Mavericks, who head the other direction, but Miami with a takeaway. Simonovic tried to spring Waldron on a breakaway, but Waldron was changing, and so he had to let that puck go.
Sullivan was on the ice, too. Waldron told him to go, like pointed at him and said to go, and then Sullivan got on the ice, and then Waldron banged his stick and asked for the puck. I'm not exactly sure what that was about, but almost to too many men, and then both players Superman dove back into the bench to avoid a penalty, thankfully, but yeah, weird miscommunication there between the captain, Ryan Sullivan, and Johnny Waldron.
Icing instead, and so a defensive zone face-off for the RedHawks, and it is won by Omaha. Soft play in deep in the offensive zone as the Mavericks will forecheck and win possession. Bremer gets spun around, but gets it up to the right point. A shot there by Gavin gets blocked by Filya. It draws some stick taps from the Miami bench. Meanwhile, the puck behind the cage again, and Simonovic threw it off the shin pads of a Maverick, and Miami will turn it over. Simonovic now fighting 1-on-2. He lost that battle, but the RedHawks do take it back, and Simonovic will lift it off the glass. Ambrosio hustling to try and avoid the icing. He's a step behind, and the RedHawks have iced it with 4:47 to go in the second period. Omaha 2, Miami 1, the score remains. Shots on goal in favor of the Mavericks, 14-13. And back into the offensive zone goes the Omaha fourth line of Lurie, Pinanimi, and Slipik.
Colby Ambrosio made up a lot of ground on that, trying to make up for that icing.
Yeah, it did not look like it was going to be particularly close, and ended up doing so. And there's pros and cons to that, of course, in the college game. You love to see the hustle. The bad news is
it's tired.
You get tired and you have to stay on the ice.
Yep.
Miami does at least get Fillion off the ice now as they get it out to center ice, but he's the only one who can change, as Omaha's gotten it back in, and 4 tired bodies out there for Miami. The only fresh one is Theodore Forsander, who is on the puck right now. Forces a dump in behind. Puck ends up on the far half wall where Isaiah Norland pinches in for the Mavericks. Threw it off the end boards, and Simonovic tried to play it out. It ended up with Donato, who handed it back for his goaltender, and Bruno Braveris pounced and covered to get the RedHawks the much-needed change with 4:09 to go in the second period.
And once again, it's this fourth line for Miami, also a line that has created a lot. Granted, it's often come after an offensive zone face-off, and now they'll have to create something from nothing here as they get a defensive zone draw on the far side. Raymond Vitalins to take it against Harrison Israels.
Face-off won by Miami, and Dylan Moulton loses it, though, against the end wall. The RedHawks will have to play some defense here. RedHawks do take the puck back courtesy of Moulton, and will now outlet it across the ice. John Emmons with speed down the right side, works his way to the front, throws a sharp angle shot on it. Now Vitalins with a rebound. It's loose in front for a moment and whacked just wide by Emmons. Moulton now with a try for the center point, partially blocked. Emmons with another takeaway, chips one in front, and it found the stick of Raymond Vitalins, but he couldn't get a shot off. Forsander on the far half wall, trying to push it back in deep. He gave it right to the stick of Griffin Ludke, and the Maverick alternate captain can clear. Tipped play down the center of the zone, and the RedHawks got it back in for a moment. Mavericks, though, will bring it back to the offensive end, and will toss it in while going for a 4-man change. The lone forechecker is Watkins, and he's unsuccessful as the RedHawks break out quick. Miami with now a giveaway, though, at neutral ice. Moulton does well to win it back for the RedHawks, and it's Chapani down the left side now for Miami entering the zone. Trying to hand it off for Frankie Cargioiello. He fanned on the attempt, however, and the Mavericks back with it in their defensive zone. Long pass up ahead, got picked off by Hutchison, but the best he could do is just bat it back to the Mavericks, who will dump it to the RedHawk end. 2:37 to go, second period. Omaha leads Miami 2-1. RedHawks, though, have retaken the shots lead 16-14. Miami back into the offensive zone, although a breakout by Omaha forces Miami to dump back in. Cozy will blindly throw it behind his back to the near side. Brought back out to neutral ice by the Mavericks. Messenberg skating it across. Hands for Dukovac. Circles just inside the blue and tucks it in deep. Nasson working on the forecheck. Pasted Krenzen on his way by, but the Maverick captain held on to the puck, and Omaha will bring it ahead. Glynn lugs it forward. He got fully spun around. Maverick bench wanted a penalty there as he got tugged to the ice, but one was not called. And now Casper Nasson will chip it into the offensive zone for Miami with just over 100 seconds to go in the period. Puck came back out for a second. Donato drives it back in the far corner. Thrown into the slot by Christoph Filion. That puck poked up in the air and down the ice. Icing is waved on the far side by Logan Belgraf. Colby Ambrosio touches it ahead for the RedHawks, just barely into the offensive zone. Puck at the other linesman there, and Troy Merritt on its way out. That'll allow the RedHawks to keep it in the offensive zone. Wrist shot by Donato from the right point. Easily stopped with a pillow by Latkozy, and Donato got crushed. And now a 2-on-1 after a turnover. Dragging and shooting, Israel scores. Another head-scratching goal allowed by Miami right there, as that play looked like nothing was going to come of it. And the RedHawks just gave it away. A 2-on-1 ensued. Israel's was left completely alone for the shot. He took it and put it right between the legs of Bruno Braveras.
And just how quickly things can change. Looks like Nick Donato keeps it in, and then quick play out is banked out on the blue line. Spencer Cox has it for a moment, and he loses it, and he tries to play the pass. It was Israel's and Brady Risk on the other end who's banging his stick for a pass, but that's, I believe, the third turnover from Spencer Cox that has resulted in almost a goal. He had one earlier that resulted in a post, and then if not for Johnny Waldron, it would have been a goal. But Spencer Cox has made some not great decision making with the puck tonight, and it's cost Miami.
3-1 the score with Omaha in front. Nearly got another one just now, but Braveras made a nice save, and now with 36 seconds to go in the period, Miami hoping to get one back as Sullivan drags it between the legs, enters the offensive zone, and will circle along the far side but blow a tire. Shapani below the goal line. He gets pinned and spun off the puck, and it will end up on the stick of Joe Gramer, who carries it down the left wing and will throw it into the offensive zone with 12 seconds to go. Quick change by the Mavericks. Maybe time for one final rush for Miami. Quinn guiding it through traffic. Will push it into the offensive zone, and no forecheck for Miami. That's going to bring things to the end of the period. Unassisted goal for Harrison Israel's the only mark of the period, coming at 18:53. Just over a minute left in the second, in a really tough way to end a second period that you probably could have been pretty happy with if you were Miami. You will now go into the second intermission down 2 goals instead of 1. RedHawks did retain the shots lead 17-15 and had their chances in that period. Funny thing about the shots lead, Jeff, is it's felt like a lot of Miami's best chances of the night have not even resulted in shots on goal. A lot of net misses from the slot area tonight by the RedHawks. They'll need to turn those into goals in the third period. And again, what wasn't a bad period, but an offensive breakdown leaves a sour taste in your mouth headed into the intermission.
Yeah, and I fully agree with that, especially that last part. I mean, talked about it earlier, but after that power play that Miami had, it was a lot of offensive zone time, and it was pretty consistent offensive zone time for 5 to 7 minutes for the RedHawks. But I don't really think there were more than 1 or 2 shots that were registered that entire time, and it simply was because they would find their way to the slot and then try and pick corners or find a hole that just wasn't there and ended up missing the net. And you know, if you're a fan watching Miami, it's frustrating watching them, you know, produce and play well and play a better period than I think the Mavericks did, but come up with essentially nothing. And you know, now you're down 3-1 because of a poor turnover and from a player that is usually really strong. Spencer Cox has had plenty of chances tonight to score, and he's created a lot of chances for his teammates, but some boneheaded plays in the defensive zone have resulted in goals against. And now we're sitting down 3-1, and Miami needs to really, really start hitting the net and converting on the chances that they are getting.
Second intermission here in game one of the series. It's Omaha 3 and Miami 1 from Cady Arena. We'll take a break. When we come back, Red Hawk Radio intermission report comes your way. Jeff and I back for the third with the Red Hawks down 2 goals. Again, you're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio.
You're listening to Red Hawk Radio. My name is Will Salzarulo. I'm giving you the second intermission updates from here live in Coach Cady Arena in the Gaggenau Center. Goals for the second period. There was one goal. Omaha scored late in the period. Goal by Harrison Israels and unassisted. There was also one penalty, also by Omaha, a 2-minute penalty for holding. Miami with 17 shots on net, with Omaha with 15. Not much scoring-wise at the end of the second period. So in conclusion, Miami 1 goal, Omaha 3. We'll see what happens next. You're listening to Red Hawk Radio. Thank you.
Teams taking the ice for our third period here from Cady Arena. Late Omaha goal in the second lifted the Mavericks to a 3-1 lead after they led 2-1 after 20 minutes. Miami played a pretty good second, but went to the locker room not feeling great about how it ended with that goal by Harrison Israels with just over a minute left in period number 2, and will now have to come from behind by 2 goals instead of 1 here in the third. Alongside Jeff Middleton, Luke Poley with you again. We'll be back with you tomorrow, same time here at Cady Arena for Game 2 between Miami and Omaha. Jeff, there's a lot to like about what Miami had in that second period. Got to start getting some of those slot opportunities on the net and in the net if you're the RedHawks, but energy-wise, it felt like at least having a pulse in that second and responding was good outside of that breakdown at the end.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've talked about it before as well, Luke, about 60-minute efforts and how much this RedHawks team, considering where they are right now just as a program and the teams that they're going to be playing, that they need 60-minute efforts. They need to keep moving their feet. They really need to keep creating and make short, simple passes, and I think they did a lot of that really well in the second period, and now it's just about keeping it going for this third.
Played into the offensive end by Omaha off a dump in, but it came from behind the red line, and the Mavericks have iced it. 18 seconds into the period, and Anthony Noreen's not playing around. He's already made a line change, and he will bring out the line of Vitalin's, Forsander, and Emmons, which has been one of Miami's better lines tonight. John Emmons currently leading the team headed into the third with 3 shots. Miami leading in the shot department 17-16 now. 20 seconds into the third. Face-off won by the Mavericks. Long pass thrown it ahead, and Hillman brings it into the offensive zone, but lost possession there. And the RedHawks will break it back out. Emmons down the left side will shove it in deep where Vitalin's goes after it for Miami. Tapping it along. It got past the reach of Theodore Forsander and brought out past neutral ice where Hillman completely spilled onto his backside, and the RedHawks will take it back to the offensive end. A dragon shot by John Emmons gets blocked and ends up in the protective netting.
I've really liked Emmons' game tonight. His last shot came on one that, again, was from right in front of the crease, and it just kind of fluttered over Latkozy. Looked like it might have gone in. Even Dylan Moulton was at the blue line celebrating, but it just fluttered by the post. But he's been creating chances kind of all night. That line has been really good, and now it's back to the first line for this offensive zone draw.
RedHawks won it, but Dukovac could not handle the puck, and Stang ran right by him with possession and will dump it into the offensive zone for the Mavericks. Spencer Cox routes it up the far side, and it is chipped into the offensive end by Casper Nasson. Dukovac going in on forecheck efforts for Miami. Krenzen gets it past him, but cannot clear. Donato kicks it down and keeps it in the offensive zone. Miami's forecheck, though, will lighten up, and Mavericks able to get it down the right side where Watkins can tip it in. RedHawks break it out, though, with pace, and Nasson will direct it into the offensive zone. Caragiello burns his way below the goal line to apply forecheck for Miami. As the puck is sent down the far wall, Jimmy Glynn could not bring it in, and the RedHawks will dump it back in. Ludke opens the hips, circles his own net, and will bank it back to the near corner, where again the cage is rounded, this time by Norland, who skates it all the way out through center ice, but lost possession right in front of his own bench. Mavericks still with it. Ludke lasers one ahead for Glynn. Circling at the left point of the offensive zone, he'll shovel it in deep where Michael Quinn directs it up the wall for the RedHawks. Now Matt Schapani skating it out. He will cross the center red and slide it deep in the Maverick zone. Latkozy faked out Christoph Filion and will hand it off for Jacob Gavin behind the cage. Gavin down the right side. He will hand it off for Jimmy Glynn. Cross ice feed tipped into the offensive zone and pulled in by Hillman. Puck jam now on the right side boards. Pulled out by the Mavericks and all alone in front of the net. A shot high and wide by Israels. Oof. That pass found him in a hurry, and there were no RedHawks within at a 15-foot radius with his feet planted right in the center of the slot.
Fortunate he missed the net.
Very fortunate. Ambrosio now pushes it ahead. He sidestepped around Joe Kramer there, but Kramer turned around and poked the puck away at the last moment to prevent a breakaway that Ambrosio would have created for himself. Now Vitalin's down the right side for Miami. He will hit the brakes, handing off for Ambrosio. It bounces back for Vitalin's. Puck sat for a moment in the slot. It's picked up there and dumped down the ice by Risk. It'll go down for icing. And Omaha's been out there for a while. And that will bring the bodies back on the ice as 16:41 to go in the third period. Mavericks lead at 3-1. I think if you're Mike Gavinet, you got to be a little bit critical of the amount of times your team has iced the puck here in this game, especially on the tail end of some long shifts. He's kept his timeout in his pocket. He's just letting his guys work through it, and they haven't gotten punished for it yet. But that is a dangerous game to play as the Mavericks again do win the faceoff and again will cross the center red and deal it down the ice. Forsander went to tip it in, but didn't really get a ton on it. It'll be cleared back to Miami's defensive line where Spencer Cox is skating around with it for the RedHawks. D-to-D for Dylan Moulton. Down the right lane, fed one off the skate of Max Dukovac that skipped forward and now picked up by the Mavericks. Up ahead off the wall, Pananimi will direct it into the corner. Now Johnny Waldron has it for the RedHawks and finds Dukovac with a saucer feed. Dukovac skating it down the left side. He'll be spun around, but gets it into the offensive zone for the RedHawks. Donato partially fanned on a shot, finds Waldron who wrists one on, and that's snapped out of the air by Latkozy.
What a save.
So that fan shot by Donato ended up working out perfectly for Miami as Waldron caught it and ripped it from the right side dot, and Latkozy made an excellent save with the glove.
Latkozy, it's interesting because he, unlike many goaltenders, is a righty. So instead of that being right to the blocker side, Waldron fired it right to the mitt. And he snagged that one. Looked at it for a little bit, admired the grab as well.
And with the amount of pace that shot was sent on, and with the modern philosophy on shots to the high blocker side, to your point, Jeff, if that's not Latkozy's glove hand, that's got a pretty good chance of going in the back of the net. Instead, Latkozy makes a really good save. Dukovac has it for Miami down the left side, takes it into the offensive zone and finds Waldron spinning, and he got brought down to the ice and just threw it to the near wall. RedHawks didn't like it, but will now win possession back. Waldron bumped off the puck, but Hutchison regathers for Miami, skating it and throwing it through the slot. It's tipped up in the air, and Caragiuelo will tuck it in behind the net. Stang now again turns it over for the Mavericks, and Chapani will try to wrist it in deep. Ludke gloved it down on the half wall. Puck battle with the RedHawks having more numbers and winning it on the far side. Shoveled back in deep by Hutchison. Poked along the near wall up for Stang. Got it by Quinn, but not Caragiuelo on the point, but he throws it right into the shin pads of Erdahl, which will put it outside the zone. RedHawks right back in. Rister for the right circle by Chapani. Pulled in with the glove and held on to by Latkozy. And we get a stoppage with 5.5 gone by third period. Still 3-1 Omaha. Offensive zone face-off coming up for the RedHawks.
And I've really liked what Miami has done, pressuring the Omaha D and forcing them to make plays off the wall and then recovering the loose pucks when they get there. I mean, that's just part of the effort that Anthony Noreen has really wanted this team to put in. Keep their feet moving, recover loose pucks, and good things will happen.
Looked like the face-off got caught in the sticks of each centerman before it actually came down on the ice.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, finally does, and now thrown out in front, and Glenn threw one on, and a save made by Braveris, and the net comes flying off. Just thrown in front, and Jimmy Glenn got on the tail end of that. He was 1-on-0 with the goaltender, but didn't really have any time, and also was right on top of Braveris. The best he could do was just kind of swat it on net. Braveris made the save, and then his momentum carried him into Braveris and the net, which knocked it off. Face-off will stay in the zone here with 14:18 to go in the third. After that chance for the Mavericks.
I believe it was Ryan Sullivan coming back on the back check too. It's kind of sprawled out to prevent any pass and was kind of on the back of Glenn as well, forcing him to make a less than ideal backhand shot right into the pad of Braveras.
Puck lifted all the way down the ice, but Ambrosio arrives first for the Redhawks. That'll negate the icing. Redhawks, though, do cough it up. And Bremer, with some serious speed, stepping around Moulton down the far side. Poking it behind the goal line. Spencer Cox now grabs it for Miami. It is pulled away from his grasp by Ambrosio, but the Redhawks can't get it out. Now they will, courtesy of Christoph Villian. Banking it down the near wall. Ambrosio can't handle it through a tight spot. Bremer will just take it past the center red and dump it back in for the Mavericks, who go for a change up 2 goals with 13 and a half minutes to go. Forsander with the tip in for Miami into the offensive zone. Quinn stepped up on the far point. Kept it in for a second, but not for long, as the Mavericks bring it back into the offensive zone. Puck finds space on the near side. Forsander moves into it and pushes a diagonal pass across the neutral zone that gets past Vitalins, who was looking behind him for it. Maverick defense has it right now, and Krenzen will play the puck across for Gratton. Krenzen has it back now in the near circle of his own defensive zone. Handling and shifting his weight around, he throws it up the near wall where Penanimi will tip it in. Again, the Mavericks going for changes. Dukovac catches a long pass up ahead and will work into the zone, finding Waldron. Cross-ice feed to the trailer, and Donato got his stick lifted from behind, which prevented a high danger chance off a hefty back check by Miles Hillman.
That's exactly the kind of effort every coach wants to see. Phenomenal back check there.
Puck got delayed a little bit along the near blue line, and
especially from a freshman too.
Yep, lost in the shufflings. Omaha went offside. But Hillman with a brilliant defensive effort there to prevent the goal. And Miami stays down at 2. As with 12:28 to go, we've reached a timeout on the ice. 3-1 Mavericks. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. $12:28 to go in the final period here from Cady Arena. It's Omaha 3 and Miami 1. Neutralized draw coming up on the near side, favoring Omaha just ahead of their offensive red line. Messenberg, Cargiello, and Shapani out there for Miami, the third line, up against Hillman, Israels, and Risk. Harrison Israel's already a goal tonight, 7 points in his last 6 games for the Alaska Fairbanks transfer. It's an area, by the way, that Omaha's always crushed it in recruiting, whether transfers or Alaska natives. Thrown in from behind the net, they score. Whoa, Gratton threw that from nearly the NCHC logo, and it hit off Braveras and went in. And a brutal bounce for Miami coming out of the timeout. And Gratton has extended the lead to 3 for Omaha.
And almost every Miami player coming off the bench is going to get Bruno Braveras taps, and that's frustrating. And really, again, kind of a bummer because Miami hasn't played poorly so far this period, but another turnover by Spencer Cox. Backhands it, tries to find his winger who is moving up through the defensive zone, and it goes right to the Omaha forward who is forechecking, and that results in a shot from below the goal line, which shouldn't go in, but it did. And yeah, I mean, just another costly turnover from Spencer Cox. That's two that have resulted in a goal, and we're going to challenge for offside by Miami.
So again, we'll take a look, but you're at the juncture in the game where pretty much have to do it. It's really difficult upon our first look at seeing this, Jeff, to tell just based off where the puck is. There's a player on the far side of the ice. That looks like that's Hillman, who got an assist on the goal that is in the zone when there's a one-on-one battle on the near side that is basically on the blue line. Hillman, again, is already in the zone. Difficult thing is there's one player for each team, from the angle that we can see. There's other angles that can be used, but from the live angle that was shown over the broadcast feed, that one-on-one battle where the puck is on the near side, you have no idea where that is. It's happening right on top of the blue line. The puck could be slightly in the zone, slightly out of the zone on the blue line. But again, Hillman was in the zone when that battle was happening. So the question is, had the puck already entered there? And again, from that angle, it's impossible to tell, so you'll have to look elsewhere. But in saying that, if you play the clip out a little bit longer, the puck does fall to Miami's defense. And just based off the timing of that, it looks like potentially the puck may not be in yet, but again, it's difficult to tell. Because the puck started coming back towards the way of a Miami defender that was back there. Looks like it was Dylan Moulton. And just based off of Moulton's reaction when he was going to receive that puck, it looks like maybe there's a chance that the puck hit something before it crossed the blue line, and that kind of delayed it for enough time that Hillman jumped in early. But, I mean, that is pure speculation.
Yeah.
You'll have to look at an angle from the other side of the ice to actually tell whether or not that's the case.
And they're taking their sweet, well, as I was going to say, they're taking their sweet time. They do have a call here for us.
Again, I was just going to say, if you're Miami, I mean, this is the point of the game.
Timeout anyway.
You have to challenge it, exactly. So now we'll get the call courtesy of Justin Hills. So, call stands. And again, not super surprising there. If you're Miami, you got to challenge it, but it was impossible to tell based off the one angle, and, you know, who knows what was seen on the other angles at that point. Difficult to have any sort of conclusivity there.
And it's, you know, as we just mentioned, you can use it as your timeout anyway. I mean, you're down 4-1. That goal just can't happen no matter what. It's another bad turnover, and Bruno Braveras is going to want that one back, so you give your goaltender a little extra time to reset, get to talk to your team for an extended period, and now you just get to get back in the action, try and create something here.
For Dylan Gratton, that's his first goal of the season. He's been an assist machine with 7 of them so far this year. First time in the goal column, and with 11:42 remaining in the final period, it's 4-1 Mavericks. Miami into the offensive zone. Vitalin's trying to play it to net front, but it was sent right back to him on the wall. For Sander, finds Quinn, center point, waiting, shooting, save made by the right-handed catching Latkozy. Couple whacks given by John Emmons, hoping for a rebound, none came. He gets a couple shoves, and the officials separate that rather quickly.
Man, that glove hand from Latkozy is just on it tonight. A few fantastic saves by that right hand, and including on that one, Michael Quinn, really good play at the blue line. There was a defender coming in to block it, and he just held it for an extra second and fired it to the glove side because there was more traffic to Latkozy's left, but still nothing doing. At least it was on net, though. You try and get a shot and maybe create a rebound.
Mavericks win the faceoff and quickly get it down the left side. Watkins stops just inside the blue. Puck popped in the air after It was poked off his stick, and the RedHawks will take it. Ambrosio lets it go between his legs and will take it and rip it into the offensive end. Mavericks now will double touch it down the far side and into the RedHawks zone. 10:56 to go, third period. Mavericks hoping to win their 9th in a row against the RedHawks as they play it across the ice, and the icing beat out off a hustle play by Sam Stang. Mentioned it off the top, but 8 games currently the win streak against Miami, and that's the longest in Omaha program history between a pair of former and current conference rivals. 10:27 to go in the third now as Omaha's got it at center ice. Rollwagon drags it by one, finds Glenn on the near side, and he made his way through some traffic but couldn't get the shot away. RedHawks will bring it back out to center. Moulton backing up on it with the puck. He finds Waldron, who will drive it in. It hits off the dasher and pops up in the air. Bremer, though, with plenty of time to settle it down and hand it back to Isaiah Norland on defense for Omaha. Nasson on it for Miami. He finds Messenberg, who will 270 spin it into the offensive zone. Glenn feeds it up ahead. Hit off the stick of Hillman, but couldn't cleanly grab it, so he'll have to work to gain possession back via the forecheck. Mavericks working below the goal line, do win it back and risk with a one-timer for the right side. That was kicked away by Braveris.
Another breakdown, just a man wide open in the slot. A great save from Braveris there to prevent another goal, but just can't keep happening.
Risk again wins possession on the forecheck for the Mavericks, but Miami will poke it back out of the zone. Gavin will shift it in, and a backhand feed across. It was blasted on the back door, and where's the puck? Everybody stopped. It's on the near side on Michael Quinn's stick.
It looked like Lurie thought he scored. He lifted his stick up, and Braveris was there to make the save on the one-time play. A great stop by the sophomore goaltender.
It's a very weird-looking play. It looked like the Mavericks were kind of almost ready to skate by the bench in the customary post-goal fashion, but
then the puck was on the other side of the ice.
The puck was just not in the net. Broberg has it now at center for Omaha, and he'll wrist it in. Mavericks are offside, so Miami will have plenty of time to regroup, unless Omaha presses further, which they do, and that should bring the face-off all the way down, potentially. Nope, just going to bring it right outside the zone. So 8:20 to go in the third period. It's Omaha 4 and Miami 1. As this Maverick team is looking like they're on their way to keeping this hot streak going. Face-off win by the Mavericks. And through the middle of the ice, it's played back into the Miami zone. RedHawks looking to break out, and the pass up the near wall was past an unsuspecting Tito Forcenter that'll give it back to Omaha. Stang will swirl it in. Cox on it on the near wall for Miami, lofts it off the glass for Broberg. Cox D-to-D for Dylan Moulton. Stepping it ahead, and now rink wide, it's Ryan Sullivan. Down the left side, dives to throw one in front. He was looking for Emmons, and now Filion with a shot. Emmons got a tip on it, but gobbled up by Latkozy. And he'll hang on with 7:32 to go in the third. 4-1 Mavericks, but man, John Emmons has had a heck of an offensive night.
Yeah.
Finds himself with his nose in the crease again.
I will say he's, not only has he been able to create stuff off the rush, but every single time he's on the ice, it feels like he's in front of Latkozy trying to block the vision of the Slovakian goaltender, but unfortunately Latkozy's playing really well tonight, and even the hardest of shots have seemed to find him in the net.
Omaha clears after winning the draw, and Miami will have to regroup it through center. Villian's pass went right between Ambrosio's legs as he was spinning around. And the Mavericks will drive it into the offensive zone. Gratton, the goal scorer most recently from below the goal line, will play it there. This time for his forwards. Bremer bringing it back up near the point. We got a delayed penalty coming up. It'll be against the RedHawks as feed towards the front of the net got intercepted by Sullivan, in a slashing call coming up against Miami and Connor Hutchison, who will head to the penalty box and send us to a immediate timeout. 6:56 to go in the third period. Omaha 4, Miami 1, our score. RedHawks to the kill when we come back. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. .656 remaining in the third period. It's Omaha 4 and Miami 1 as the Mavericks scored once in this period off a shot from below the goal line by Dylan Gratton, and now they'll go to the power play. They were successful the first time. This is their second man advantage opportunity of the game. They do win the faceoff, but immediately the puck escapes the zone as Stang could not hold it in for the Mavericks. Connor Hutchison, 2 minutes for tripping for Miami. And that will send Omaha to the power play. Slashing, was the call against Hutchison. And again, immediately off the entry, just a fumble with it at the point. And Gratton this time couldn't hold the zone as the Mavericks are forced to regroup it back in. Puck along the near wall. RedHawks take it and send a tipped puck down the near side that Stang couldn't keep in. It's back out to center. Back in with it, Stang will backhand it to the right point for Gratton. Dangerous D-to-D there, finds the target. Now back to the near wing of the ice. Gratton playing catch with Stang. Tried to go across, but Chapani pushed his blade into that one to keep it away. Stang now will drag and shoot from the right side. And that hit high off the glass and into the netting, it appears. Rivera's might have got a piece of that.
I'm wondering if he got it with his glove.
He would have had to, because the faceoff's going to stay in the zone. 59 seconds to go in the penalty to Hutchison as we get a look at it on replay. He did get it with that catcher glove.
That was a rocket of a shot. Great save from Rivera once again. I'm wondering if he was talking to Richard Simonovic before Simonovic left the ice. I'm wondering if he was telling him to try and clear out the guy that was standing right in front of him. Nonetheless, a good clear there by Miami as well, off the draw.
So that'll force another regroup by Omaha. This has been a pretty good kill so far by the RedHawks. And again, they'll force a turnover right as Omaha gets into the zone as Ludke gave way for Cox, and he'll clear. 30 seconds to go on the penalty to Hutchison. Bremer across the ice. Ludke circles around, tried to bank it up to the point, but Chapani got in the way, and Chapani will handle and clear it out. 15 seconds to go in the penalty. Gavin will play it backward And it's Brock Bremer up ahead for the Mavericks. Handling it through traffic. Penalty has come to an end to Hutchison, and Waldron trying to find him out of the box. It hit off his skate. And the Mavericks will end up with it, but nonetheless a very successful kill there for Miami late, which you like to see after a tremendous breakdown their first time out on the penalty kill. And now quickly a feed out in front, and Erdahl
Great stick from
was all alone, but it got poked away. 4:25 to go, third period. It's 4-1 Omaha on night one of the series. Played in behind the RedHawk net. Donato will hand it up the wall. It is held in by Marcus Broberg, who will head to both points and now feed it off for Erdahl. Shooting through traffic, it's tipped in front. Good stick there from Slipik, but Breveris swung both legs out to make the save. Puck battle 3/4 of the way up the wall on the far side of the ice. 2 RedHawks there, 1 Maverick, as Erdahl's prying away, but Simonovic and Donato have the better manpower, and they will pull it out for the RedHawks. Waldron off for Simonovic. Dukovac stepped it into the offensive zone and pushed it in deep. Behind the cage, Norlin will start a quick breakout that finds Israel's out at center. He'll take a step across the red, try to throw it in, and it appears that went into the Miami bench and did. And we get a stoppage with 3:21 to go in the third period. Neutralized draw coming up with Omaha leading 4-1. They'll do the draw at center ice, actually.
Still haven't really been able to get anything going here, and obviously with time dwindling down, the likelihood of any comeback effort is low, but still like to see Miami create something here, as it hasn't really been a period in which they found a lot of that other gear that they had, in this, especially in the second.
Cox spins it in front of his net for Johnny Waldron. Circling around, Waldron heads to the far side. Will shove it up the wall. Ambrosio tapping it forward, but some Mavericks got in the way, and the RedHawks will be forced to pull back on it. Glynn applying some forecheck. RedHawks having trouble with it, but do get it up the near wall where Hutchison can at least muscle the puck out to center ice. Waldron banking it off the near boards. Now Ambrosio will find Michael Quinn with a dangle. Finds Shapani off for Quinn on the back door, and he got stopped with the skate by Latkozy. Beautiful setup and near perfect execution there by the RedHawks as Shapani waited, but Latkozy just would not budge in net and made a beautiful kick save. 2:12 to go in the third period. Still a 4-1 hockey game led by Omaha, and 21 saves. The junior out of Slovakia, Simon Latkozy. Bremer steps it into the offensive zone meanwhile, and an offside is called, and he exchanges a couple of cross checks with Hutchison. See if they take both guys here. It looks like they will. Just enough time left on the clock that you'll have to send them to the box and not off the ice entirely. And
yep.
This is giving Waves slightly of, not quite to the extreme level, but the series finale between these two teams that saw some penalty minute records be set.
Brock Bremer, he's a talented player, 5'6", graduate student from Forest Lake, Minnesota. Only 6 points in 20 games this year, but feels like, especially last year as well, he was consistently in and around the puck when playing Miami. He scored some big-time goals for the Mavericks and continues to be an offensive threat on that first line, despite his stature. It's pretty impressive how well he moves around out there.
142 games played in his career coming into tonight. One of 3 Mavericks over 140 games in a career, which is, you know, I get that you get the COVID years and such with the NCAA rules, but that is a ton of college experience to have. Teams are skating for a side, so the penalties did not offset. They're going to expire with 3 seconds left in the game. Right now, just some keep away being played by Grattan away from Forsanders' prying efforts. Now Messenberg's going to go hard at work on the forecheck and win possession for Miami. Cross ice pass off the wall for Moulton. He will grab it, step it into the slot, and shove it in front, but it's directed back wide. Moulton now will track it, though, and try to shove it short side. He lifted that one high. Cox down the right wing, steps into the circle, handles and fires, and then whistles above the bar. Moulton off for Cox, and now top of the slot. Forsander rips one on, save made. Rebound, hop the stick of Messenberg, and now another one comes on. This time, Latkozy can leap onto it and cover up with 37.4 seconds to go in the game.
Probably what has been the best possession for Miami through this third period comes with less than a minute remaining and 4-on-4. But good work from all four guys on the ice there. Spencer Cox, Dylan Moulton, Theodore Forsander, and Blake Messenberg really working well as a unit and creating some good chances, but it's once again Latkozy who's there to thwart anything the RedHawks can come up with.
Simonovic off the face-off, wrists one on, blocker save made by Latkozy. Simonovic will now push it back into the offensive end for Miami with 25 seconds to go. 4-1 the score, led by Omaha. As Erdahl works it to the far side and plays it past Simonovic. Watkins down the right wing, throws it out in front on the back door. Erdahl was waiting, but he did not get a clean touch on it. And Rivera might have got a piece as well, as that will run the rest of the time off the clock. Omaha comes in and takes care of business on night one. After allowing the first goal, 4 unanswered by the Mavericks over the final 2.5 periods. And they beat Miami in the series opener 4-1 en route to their 9th straight win over the RedHawks. They'll look to make it double digits coming up tomorrow. Omaha now over 500, 11-10 overall, and now 7-4 in the NCHC. For reference for this Mavericks team, this is now their 3rd win in a row after sweeping Colorado College last weekend. But in addition, they have now won 6 of 7, dating back to December 14th. A Mavericks team that has really looked good over these last couple of months, and they will look to extend the streak tomorrow night. For Miami, they fall to 3-16-2 overall, 0-11 in the NCHC, still looking for Anthony Noreen's first conference win, and more of the same, Jeff, for Miami. You get the first goal of the game, which has happened at points this season. Miami gets a bounce early on, and again, we said it was probably an earned one based off the way they played on a couple shifts in a row that got them that first goal, but couple defensive breakdowns quick, had them chasing the rest of the game, and despite some good efforts in spurts, it just was never enough to get really back into the game the way they wanted to.
Yeah, and I thought the overall effort was positive, but it's once again the same old story we've dealt with kind of all year is, we watch this team really put the pressure on against strong opponents that have given them fits in the past, and then all of a sudden the game kind of turns on its heels for the RedHawks, and now they're down 2 goals or they're down a goal at the end of a period or something like that. It's a brand of hockey that is a little bit frustrating to watch if you're a fan that comes in and is, you see them score the first goal and then all of a sudden it's 2-1 or 3-1, and that was just kind of the story here tonight. Was Miami played really well. I think especially those first 40 minutes were strong. I think they were above average, but then you end up at the end of that is down 3-1, and then the third period you're kind of forcing passes, you're trying to make these plays to come back, and then all of a sudden you're on the penalty kill, and it just kind of deteriorates from there, and then you lose the game 4-1. So a frustrating night overall from a result standpoint, but I think tangibly if you come and watch them, they look decent, but again, just not good enough to get the result on the scoreboard.
Certainly. Game 2 coming up tomorrow night, 7:05 puck drop. Jeff and I will be with you as Miami hosts Omaha, looking for the series split, looking for that first NCHC win of the year, and we will talk to you then. Post-game show coming up on the other side of the break. Till tomorrow, for Jeff Middleton, I'm Luke Poley saying good night from Cady Arena. Final score, Omaha 4 and Miami 1. Thanks for tuning in to this presentation of Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. Post-game show to get you wrapped up in just a few minutes.
You're listening to Red Hawk Radio. I'm your host, William Salzarulo, here with the post-game updates for you here at John Caney Arena in Oxford, Ohio. Now, in the third period, there was one goal by Omaha, goal by Dylan Gratton, and assisted by Miles Hillman. There were 3 penalties in the third period. Miami with 2 minutes for slashing, and then Miami and Omaha 2 minutes for roughing. Now, there was a lot of shots on net throughout the entire game. Miami with 26 shots on net, Omaha with 21. Now, let's just do a brief overview of how many goals were scored in each period. In the first period, Miami with 1, Omaha with 2. Miami across the board has 1 goal for each period. Omaha with 3 points in the second, and in the third, Omaha with 4. Now, Miami is pretty good at blocking shots. Miami with 13 block shots, Omaha with 8. And for face-off wise, Miami has won 22 face-offs, Omaha won 28. Now, that's pretty much it. That's the end of the game. Now, you're listening to Red Hawk Radio. Thank you for listening. Here's the final score. Miami 1, Omaha 4. Now, thank you for listening to Red Hawk Radio. Tomorrow is another matchup with Miami and Omaha. Hope you listen tomorrow, and can't wait to see you there. I'm Will Salzarulo signing off. Have a good night.